Well, good evening and welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, James. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well. We're going to have a great show today.
Today, we're going to be talking to a young man that's going to give a new insight.
Where dentistry is concerned.
Where dentistry is concerned. I hope everybody will listen to it. It's going to be informative. It might be a new way to look at dentistry and might be a new way for you to get help with your teeth.
Yeah. And we also want to thank our sponsors for helping us stay on the air.
Lee Cossack and Crawley and Stewart Mortuary and Fervent Care Christian Academy. Those three sponsors have done a great job making sure the community has accurate information.
Yeah, we'd like to thank them and thank you all for helping to keep us on the air by tuning in each week. And we want to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. You can watch this show when it's over, as well as other shows that you might have missed. We got a Facebook page.
Like us on Facebook. Go to Facebook, pull us up, see what's happening. Let us know that you like what you see, and we'll try to do the best to improve on that.
A lot going on around the country.
It is.
And particularly here in Indianapolis.
Right.
Got some elections coming up.
Elections coming up and potholes to fill.
Yeah, well, the mayor got his $14+ million to take care of that.
Yeah, that's only a start. Mark my word on that one.
A lot of potholes to fill and a lot of roads to replace.
Yes,
Infrastructure. So we got a lot to talk about today. I think you're going to be really, really blessed. So stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
Co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're joined by Dr. Randy Shoup.
It is a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very, very much.
And thank you very kindly for coming.
Pleasure.
So tell us about biomimetic dentistry.
You've got it. Biomimetic dentistry is a relatively new form of dentistry that allows the dentist to do the minimal amount of damage to your natural teeth. You know, for years, dentists have been very, very happy to go in and make crowns or caps on your teeth, but it requires the tooth to be ground down to virtually a little nub. We have the technology and the know-how now that we virtually never do crowns anymore. So we always tell people, you know, if the dentist comes out and tells you, you need a crown on this tooth, the dentist probably needs the crown more than you do.
Interesting way to put that.
Yeah.
So give us a summary of how that works, rather than destroying the tooth.
Sure.
Protecting the tooth. How do you all do that?
The first thing we do is actually use a really high level of magnification. We can't go and approach a patient anymore with just our eyes or a couple of little magnifiers on our glasses. And we actually use full microscopes, and we have the patient laying in the chair just like normal, but we use a surgical microscope, and we are able to remove parts of the tooth so small, so tiny, and I get to use most of the time a miniature sandblaster. I actually don't use the drill. I don't have to cut big holes in teeth, and because I can see so small, I can fix very small. And if I can fix very small, I preserve all of your natural tooth. So it's technology, it's know-how, it's materials, all because of the advancements in dentistry. The man that invented all the original dentistry is a guy by the name of G.V. Black. He was really the father of modern dentistry. And his dentistry, his books that he published, his knowledge that he had was 150 years ago. They still teach that knowledge in dental schools today. We've simply abandoned all of that 150-year-old technology and know-how, and we do technology and know-how that is polymer chemistry. It is minimally invasive. It's designed to let the patient stay as healthy and natural as they possibly can.
Doctor, are you one of the only dentists in our city doing this right now?
I am the only one that
only one.
that I am aware of.
Congratulations.
There's probably 120 of us across this country, and there's about 400 of us across the United States. I just came from our national convention in Dallas, Texas, and we had about 150 dentists there, all of which are looking at the research, looking at the data, working on techniques, sharing ideas and sharing technology. We teach in dental schools that allow us to come in because we kind of rock the boat a bit in terms of what our philosophy is and how we do things.
Yeah.
And part of your all's philosophy is you say that you can put a sealer on the teeth.
Absolutely.
That would prevent almost 90% a person from having a cavity.
If you have children, okay, what we find is statistically 90% of all cavities happen on the biting surfaces of a tooth, where all the bumps and the grooves are. 90%. So if we have a way of going in and sealing that off, protecting it so the cavities never get started, then we can eliminate 90% of the cavities, and that's what we do. We use the teeny tiny miniature sandblaster. I use it through the microscope. I clean the grooves out, and then we use a tooth-colored sealer that flows down in the grooves. We shine a light, it sets up and hardens, and with that done, the tooth is virtually impervious to decay on the top surface of the tooth. A lot of patients have had sealants done, kids have had sealants done, but in the old-fashioned way of doing sealants, they fall off, they leak. In the way we do them, the technology that I've developed, they virtually never fall off. And what I tell patients is, I said, look, if you bring your kiddos in, let me put the sealants on their teeth. If that tooth ever gets a cavity on the top of it, I'll fix it for free.
Oh.
You know, I've never had to pay off one yet.
Congratulations. Now, the cost of this new wave dentistry
Sure.
in comparison to what we see today.
Exactly the same.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there is no double the cost. It doesn't cost twice as much to fix a tooth biomimetically. In all honesty, it actually costs the patient less because I'm doing things smaller, I'm doing them less invasive, they're less elaborate, and therefore it's a cost savings to the patient, as well as, you know, you realize every time you sit in the dental chair and the dentist touches your tooth with a drill, that'll never grow back. It's a one-way street. Teeth don't grow once they've formed. So every time a dentist does damage to your tooth, then the dentist has to put something back, and I will promise you, it's not as good as what Mother Nature put there in the first place. So our job is, let's do the least amount of damage possible so that we don't have to replace things, and so that your tooth stays healthier, happier, better for a lifetime.
How can people get in touch with you?
It's
Tell them right there.
It's real easy. My office is Microscope Dentistry by Shoup, and the number is 317-776-1100, or you can simply go to drshoup.com.
And tell us, Dr. Shoup, about your Kenya initiative.
Oh boy, now we don't have nearly enough time, because now we've hit a real passion again. Several years ago, I started to go to Kenya to visit family and friends there, and took my dental knowledge. I did lecturing and teaching. I taught at the dental school there. I taught at the local dental society, and I was invited to go out into some of the remote areas and see what I could do health-wise for some of the children. One thing has led to another. We now do annual mission trips where we go and do the sealants that I just described to you, okay? But we also take backpacks filled with school supplies, and the young ladies over there, when they reach that kind of special age where they start to have their cycles and so forth, they have no supplies, and so they wind up staying home. They wind up staying out of sight. And the graduation rate for boys at the end of their matriculation through school, 85%. The graduation rate for girls, 20%, because they cumulatively miss so much school as they go. They get further and further behind, and then they fall out. So we have found a lady in Nairobi that makes washable, reusable pad kits. So we put pad kits in their backpacks, teach them how to use them so we can keep them in school, let them graduate, let them have a different future, a different outcome for their life.
How's the success rate, percentage-wise? Since you're doing From 20?
We've done the pad kit for just the last 2 years, so we don't have kids that have matriculated out
Right.
through the system yet.
But more are going to school now.
Yeah, my last trip there in 2 weeks, we saw 100 children, and in a 2-week period, I did 1,500 sealants.
Wow.
We were busy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
We're busy.
And it sounds like you're
Passionate about it.
passionate and right in there with a lot of breakthrough technologies, whether it's dentistry and you're talking about the young ladies.
Certainly.
And the different things that you all have been able to come up with. So
Yeah,
it's interesting how your mind works.
It's good for my head because I get to do technical things, but it's really good for my heart because it makes me feel good. I know I've made a difference.
Yeah. Well, you've been a great guest.
Yes, you have.
It has been my pleasure and an honor to be here.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Doctor.
very much.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We have much more to come. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we are joined by Ms. Tara Klutz,
Yes.
Auditor
Hello.
of the State of Indiana.
Yes.
Thank you.
Happy to have you.
Yeah. And as we understand it, you are finishing out the term of your predecessor, and you have aspirations to run and become the Auditor of the state. So first of all, tell us how you ended up getting appointed to the position, and then why would you want to run for that responsibility?
She's eager, James. Look at her.
Well, I'm just trying to think how far we want to go back. That's all. I'm going to go ahead and start back with from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was born and raised there. Walked to a Lutheran grade school through the week, and then went to a Pentecostal church on Sundays and on Wednesday nights. I got married in a Methodist church, and so at this point of time, God has made sure that He has, in one way or another, in tuned me with His doctrine and His Spirit.
Yeah.
And so
I like that.
I didn't want to leave home, so I went to college at IPFW for
Okay.
accounting. I married my high school sweetheart, and then got a job at PricewaterhouseCoopers, which was, at the time, had just merged together, so one of the largest accounting firm in the world, which was just another blessing had I known what it was going to prepare me for. Because getting a job at a company like that, normally they're only in big cities, and you normally only audit large companies. But because we did mid-sized manufacturing, I had an opportunity to audit the entire balance sheet of a company, from cash to receivables to assets, liabilities.
Phenomenal.
And so it prepared me in a way that only a small organization can prepare you for something like this. And then my husband, who's a year younger than me, graduated with a political science degree. And you may know this now, but I did not know at that ripe age of 22 or 23 that what you do with a political science degree, which is either go to law school or get involved in politics or work in government.
Which one did he do?
He chose law school, and we didn't have any in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So that meant that I needed to think about a career change so I could pick up the kids to and from daycare. And he was involved in politics a little bit, so the county offices are term limited, and the county clerk was running against the chief deputy auditor to be Allen County Auditor in Fort Wayne. And she campaigned on hiring a CPA as her chief deputy. So we had lunch one day because they knew Zach's wife was a CPA. So we had lunch, and I said, I can audit for you. I audit for PricewaterhouseCoopers. Well, she won. I came in. And nope, it's not the same kind of auditing. It's the county auditor of Marion County and the county auditors in the other 91 counties. They're the chief financial officer for their county, though Marion County is a little different with the Unigov. They're also in charge of all the property tax records. And so I came in right when they switched the way they assess property in Indiana from cost less depreciation to market value and use. And so that's where I found I had a passion for public service. And I'm going to just go ahead and shorten this real quick, but I didn't realize, I should have, that my boss would be also term limited to 2 4-year terms. And so I ran in 2010 to be the Allen County Auditor, and then in 2014 is my second term, and I was finishing that out when a couple of people had approached me to consider running for state auditor in the past, but I had hesitantly said no. I was planning on starting a non-for-profit through my church to provide respite for people who adopt foster care children, because not everybody can make that commitment on their own, but a lot of people do want to help in some way, and so just providing an organization to allow people to invest and provide a couple hours a night so they can go on date night or so they can go grocery shopping was what I was thinking. And then God had other plans for me. In 2016, leading up to the election, just really close to like in October, in my daily readings, he was kind of showing me that maybe he had something different, which of course I'm just starting to like think to myself, I'm sure it's not that, right? I'm sure it's not that. And then you hear, I took an assessment test with work, and everybody took it, and of course mine said control and leadership and power. I'm embarrassed to say, but that was the thing. Things come in three when you're discerning the voice of God, and so then other people would say something, and then I got a call 2 days after the election when Vice President Pence was elected to Vice President, and Eric Holcomb was elected to governor, and Susan Crouch, who was the state auditor, moved to be the lieutenant governor. It created this awesome opportunities where you don't even have to give up a job like to run statewide campaign, which is not my passion by any means, but you get to be in the job. So I was appointed and got sworn in January of 2017 to be the state auditor, and I'm the first CPA to hold the position in the state of Indiana.
Yeah. Congratulations. You're ready now to run on your own now, huh?
And now I'm running on my own this year, statewide campaign. I love meeting people, and I didn't know. This is something you guys can appreciate, but I look back now, and everybody wants me to speak just because I'm an elected office holder, and I get this opportunity to go up and share my testimony about how I got here and about what the plan is. It doesn't mean I'm going to win in November, but right now I just feel like I'm doing the right thing in the right place. Plus, I love the job.
And it's good to know we have some God in the State House.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot there.
We need some God in our State House. Yeah.
We are lucky in Indiana.
Yes.
We have prayer groups.
Right, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
So, Auditor, should you win in November, what is the biggest thing that you want to do for the state of Indiana?
It's probably going to be boring for most of our listeners, but internal controls were near and dear to my heart, because what that means is when you put in some mechanism so that one person doesn't have full control of a transaction from beginning to end. So that if you have in charge of paying vendors, I pay over 80,000 vendors, that you don't also have control of inputting the vendor bank information and creating vendors in the system. That would give
Shared
that to Pastor Moore.
responsibility.
Yes.
Shared responsibility.
And so we're doing that. We started that division this year. It's up and growing. We're first going to go through the entire office, my office, and then we're going to voluntarily open it up to the other state agencies, just so that we can put out we just want to put out better information. We want to make sure the reports that we are given are accurate and reduce opportunities for misstatement and fraud.
Well, it's interesting you said that you are the first CPA to hold the post, and you would think
that's what would happen.
That's what would happen. That would be the history.
Yeah.
So it looks like things are going to be getting better, that someone who understands finance and money is now in charge of it.
That's the exciting part. When I came in, I was the fourth auditor in 4 years because of just different turnover. You would normally not expect that because each term is 4 years. But it started with Tim Berry, who was the state auditor. He left to become the state party chair. And then we had Dwayne Sawyer pop into state auditor for a couple of months. And then he left. And then Suzanne Crouch got tapped by Governor Pence to fill out his term, ran for her own term. And then she went to be lieutenant governor. And so we have a staff of 50. And so we've spent some time just, getting each other, learning the office, and basically bonding so that we can move forward as a team.
Don't get too comfortable as auditor. God has you on a platform, so you might be on your way somewhere else. And so I want to encourage you to keep moving. And sometimes we move when we don't want to move. And you're doing a great job here. And you haven't lost any money yet, have you?
That's funny. With the last name Klutz, it's an unfortunate last name to be handling the state's money, but I have not dropped any state money yet.
And if you would, Auditor, just look in that camera and give a personal message to the folk. Hopefully we'll put you back in there.
Sure. I guess I'm excited and humbled and honored to be this Indiana's 57th state auditor. I don't actually audit. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of the state of Indiana, so I'm in charge of all the accounting and reporting. My 3 goals are to create internal controls within the state of Indiana, enhance transparency, and unify the state's use and purchase of technology. Thank you.
You're welcome. You've been a great guest.
Thank
Yes, you have.
And I want you to stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And I'm your executive producer, Faith McKinney.
And we have a special guest today.
Yes, we do. We have Sherry Peak Davis. And Sherry is shadowing me today because, you know, being an executive producer is hard work.
Yes.
And
Do a good
Sherry
job.
was so kind as to come and help me today. We had a busy day, and man, you're killing it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for being
As
here.
co-host
Thank
of
you very much for having me.
Real People, Real Voices, I want to thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely.
And you have a beautiful hair.
Thank you, sir.
Hairdo there.
Thank you.
And we certainly have had a great show today
Yes.
with our guest. And I tell you, the breakthrough technology
In
with dentistry,
Yes.
to put a sealant on your teeth where you'd have almost a 90% chance of not having a cap.
And
that's
phenomenal.
amazing.
That's amazing.
And he's the only one.
Right,
For now.
Right.
Right.
Then we have a great young lady who hadn't lost a dime.
She's not a klutz.
She's not a Klutz, although her last name is Klutz. She's doing a great job as our state auditor. And so there are people in the State House that are godly people, and she's a godly woman.
Yeah, I
and
love her
good
spirit.
Yeah, love her spirit. Wish her much success in her endeavors.
Yeah, she is amazing. When I first met her, I mean, really, I could just feel the warmth, and we'd meet and we had coffee, and it's just like I've known her forever, and she is the type of person that I would love to, you know, entrust with my money, my home, our state is in really good hands.
Yeah, and I like it because she's a people person,
She
and
really
she's
is.
a saved woman. And I think that's good. You can't beat having saved people, whether people agree with it or not, in the realms of politics.
Yeah.
We need more saved people who are godly conscious.
And she's
in
not
politics.
ashamed to share.
No, she shares.
Not
it.
at
She
all.
uses it as a platform as well.
Well, spiritually sophisticated. I mean, it's Methodist, Pentecostal, and some of the different things.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you all for joining us every week at 5:30 on Sundays and on Friday nights at 8:30. We're so excited to be able to share with you every single week. Also, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. You can watch this show once it's over and other shows that you might have missed. And we have a Facebook page.
Yes, like us on Facebook. If you can't catch us on TV, get us on Facebook and leave a message. Let us know how we're doing so we can improve ourselves.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.